Hey guys, welcome back to Who Reviews. We're just gonna jump into this one. I wish I had like a jingle or something. I wish I had like a fucking like bow 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 something like that. But I should let you guys know though that I'm going on a trip in my favorite rocket ship. Zooming through this. Okay, shut the fuck up. I'm going on a trip to Spain. It's a school study abroad thing. It's gonna be so epic, but that also means I'm not gonna be doing anything internet-wise for six weeks. I will be speaking no English and no phone, which is gonna be rough, but it's gonna be awesome. So, I guess, bye. All right, let's talk about some movies. Ooh, man. Okay, first of all, you didn't have to. I'm speaking directly to you, James Gunn. You didn't have to mess with us so bad. Like, oh my god. What else can I say besides this is the perfect conclusion to the Guardian saga? I mean, they really covered everything. I wondered how they would write a happy ending after everything that's happened since everything that happened in Guardians 2 and then Infinity War. I didn't know how they could do it. And, well, it's not an entirely happy ending, but it's one of the most satisfying. Like, it's incredibly satisfying to see how everyone, comes together and then kind of begins to really find out what they want and who they are and stuff like that, like just going their separate ways and kind of being okay with entering a new era in their lives. They finally get into Rocket's backstory, who is probably one of the most traumatized characters in the entire MCU, and I'm not exaggerating. It's some heavy shit. Like the scenes with Rocket's backstory, my heart was fucking in a puddle on the floor. And it also focused way less on Star-Lord than I thought, which I guess makes sense because, he got the most of the attention in 1 and 2. Yeah, this movie wraps it up really well. I mean, even though it did say he's returning, I don't know how. And then there's first of all, the stakes weren't like completely galaxy destroying. It was the stakes were just saving Rocket, and that was like even more like urgent in a way than what they had to stop in 1 and 2. And then once they did that, there was like rebuilding Gamora from scratch with all the history that Peter remembers, but not her. Nebula becoming like after everything that she after how like antagonizing she's been in past movies, her like just becoming this, I guess, just being a normal person with normal emotions is what it is, because she was this like war-hardened freaking robot warrior who was like, I'm gonna fucking kill my father and he's gonna fucking burn in and then seeing her actually care for the other Guardians is like so like, wow, like if she's reacting this way, then fuck. Drax, he and Mantis kind of find themselves in their own way. Groot is still Groot. No, not really any notes on that one. Star-Lord getting over losing Gamora is like the situation, the drama is like insane. Like your girlfriend dies but then comes back from the past, and it just makes for it makes for some just really gripping drama that you desperately want to see how it ends. But it's mainly Rocket in this movie, and I loved that. Like, we thought he had development in Guardians 1 when Groot died. We thought he had development in Guardians 2 with Yondu and he opened up a little bit more to him. But this is like the cynical part of me wants to be like, oh, it's so fucking cheesy. Like, he had friends. He had these, he had these friends, and the bad guy, he killed, they died. Oh, boo-hoo. But then I'm like, but fuck, they're, oh my, but like, ah, ah, ah. It's so fucking sad. It's so tragically heartbreaking. I'm like the most aggressive, hardened character who is like, he's a talking raccoon who shoots guns and flies spaceships. And I think he's my new favorite character in the MCU right now. I've said that multiple times. I don't know. I just watched it and it's like implanted in my brain. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but it's just so satisfying. It's so good, especially after watching Quantumania and like Love and Thunder, and I liked those, but they weren't up to old Marvel standards. But this is this is just amazing. And then like, I don't know, the choreography is still so good. I don't know how they keep like. Eventually, I'm like, eventually they're gonna run out of cool ways to show fight scenes, right? So they're gonna run out. They're gonna get old at some point, right? But then there's this one scene. It's like a minute long uncut scene of the Guardians beating up a bunch of soldiers in this hallway, and it's just incredible. It's amazing. And not only that, but then they balance the the 80s music soundtrack, which I'm sure I'd get a lot more out of that if I grew up with that music, but it's still funny whenever like a song plays. Like watching this ragtag group of space rebels beat up an entire army while No Sleep Till Brooklyn plays is just like, it's just so good. But anyway, yeah, you gotta fucking watch this thing, man. Anyway, as with most things, it's probably gonna change, but for now, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a 10 out of 10. American-born Chinese. The title's a little bit on the nose if you ask me, but I happen to be a American-born Chinese, and also this series had Michelle Yeoh and Ki Wei Kwan in it, so I was like, well, I freaking gotta see this, and I just find the timing of this series a little bit odd, and like the fact that it has both main characters from Everything Everywhere All at Once in it. I can't help but think this series was made just to ride off of that hype, but that's probably just that's the cynic in me talking. So let's watch this series. I'm curious. Okay, episode 1. I've decided to do this in the episodic review thing that I did with Wednesday. I gotta say that the pilot is like kind of boring. There's like one scene at the beginning and one scene at the end where they have a kung fu fight, and that was, okay. But also, I'm confused, and not in a good way. Like, the Chinese mythology stuff is like, kind of cool. But then there's the middle school stuff with this kid going to just normal school, and he's awkward and gets made fun of for like falling down. But I don't know, dude. I gotta say the vibes were a little bit off. Like the main character was trying like a little bit too hard to be just like awkward all the time, and then they were trying a little too hard for that, like, subtle unintentional racism angle, which is like a very real thing, but at the same time it's kind of cringe, which I mean, I guess is the point. They did a stellar job in making me very uncomfortable.
This is Wayne Chung. He's a new student and he's Chinese, like you.
And also the Chinese mythology aspect is very heavily, or I guess not heavily, because I really don't think there was enough of it. But the exposition we do get is like so clunky that I really don't have a clue what the fuck is going on. But that's probably just because it's the first episode. But still, it's just a lot of fantasy things have this problem where they dump a bunch of terminology on you that at least I can never keep track of. It's like it's probably just a me problem. So I'm kind of waiting for the two plot lines to really intersect because they haven't yet. But I guess the bottom line is I'm not checked out yet. It's intriguing, even though technically speaking, there's not very much like incredible or notable about how it's shot or edited or anything. Exactly, it's like what you'd expect from a Disney Plus series, really. It's kind of... Let's just watch episode 2. Okay, so the two plots still haven't really connected yet, which is starting to, like, confuse me. Like, Jin is just going about his, life in middle school, joining the soccer team. He's still kind of clashing with Wei Chen, but, like, he still doesn't know... Jin still doesn't know about anything that's going on with the bull demon and the iron staff. He doesn't know about any of that yet. It's like two completely different plots going on. As for the depiction of the sort of unintentional racism, this is the part I'm still on the fence about. Because, like, is it too on the nose? Is it exaggerated? Is it in itself problematic? I don't know, because, which I feel like I should know, being an American-born Chinese myself, who has grown up in, like, the era of social media. Like, there's a scene where the Culture Club asks Jin to, like, give a speech about the mean video that someone made about him on TikTok, or whatever app it was called. It was like, it wasn't TikTok, it was something else, but, like, Click Clock. Anyway, they asked him, like, make a speech about it, and he was like, no, actually, I don't think it's that. It's actually just, it's just a harmless little joke. And then there's this whole thing where she was like, there are so many people who don't have a voice, and it's our responsibility to be that voice. And, well, it's very much of that thing in like school dramas where, like, the group with signs and who are yelling protests, they're kind of framed as the weird ones. But in this situation, I don't know if I see them as the weird ones just because I'm a shitty person, or if that's what the show is trying to do. So I think that's where that's coming from. Okay, let's go on episode 3. Okay, so Jin is starting to figure out about the magical stuff, but, like, the two plot lines are still just separate, and I don't get it. But Michelle Yeoh, let's talk about Michelle Yeoh. She starts to get more to do in this episode, and as expected, she is the high point of the show. She has some funny lines. She does a cool fight scene, and that's the kind of stuff I came into this for. And as for Ki Hui Kwan, I mentioned him. His only character so far has been, like, this guy in the background of like a sitcom within this show. So he's not even really a character. He's like he's just a guy in the background. Also, that annoying habit that Disney series have of just having so many licensed tracks instead of making an original score. Like, at one point they play that song, balls hanging low as a bottle of a yacht, twin swinging, clang clang, and it costs a lot, during a scene where, like, why did you do that? Could have made a score, could have made an original score. Would have made a lot more sense. It's just like, you don't have to play a pop song every 5 minutes. It seems like a lazy way to, like, set an atmosphere to me. There are some decently funny antics, but nothing notable has presented itself yet in terms of anything, even the fantasy element, which I'm not really wowed by. Because all we've really seen of the fantasy world so far is, like, I don't know, it's like a red forest. Okay, let's just move on to episode 4. We're gonna go faster through these. Okay, so this episode, this entire episode is dedicated to the like, kind of a backstory about the Monkey King, which I don't think I've mentioned yet, because he hasn't really been developed that much, but he is now. Like, there's this weird framing device where it's like a kind of like a fourth wall breaky sitcom type thing, which kind of threw me for a loop because this show hadn't established itself as that kind of genre bending, fourth wall breaking type of thing. It hasn't established itself as that. So then, like, why are you doing this self-referential sitcom 80s sitcom format. Like, why are you? It's not. Let's see, like, it's not funny because it's more so just random and out of nowhere. It's a cool location. It's a cool set piece. The ancient the what they call it, the grand banquet of the Imperial Peach. There's a lot of terminology, but it's a cool idea. And then the way this episode ends actually does a good job of finally sort of linking the two plots together thematically, with kind of Wei Chen wanting to follow his own path, and then Wu Kong being like, okay, you can do that. And then the last line of this episode really intrigued me, really made me want to watch the next episode, which is, always good. So let's go on episode 5. Okay, at this point, we're actually getting some decent drama. Like, at this point, I do end up feeling for Jin and what his family's going through at this point in the show. But then there's the exposition of the other stuff with the magical staff, and there's a magic pendant that they have to unlock to... I don't fucking understand it at all. And at this point, it's like, who fucking cares? The MacGuffin is this thing, and they're trying to get it because reasons. So I wish they did a better job of that. Also, like, I still don't know what a guide is. They keep talking about how Jin is a guide. We're 5 episodes in, and I have no idea what that even means. Guiding for what? Jin has no idea what's going on still. How is he a guide? Right? He still hasn't really gotten involved in the Chinese God uprising or whatever. He still hasn't gotten involved with that. I mean, technically, Wei Chen is involved in that, and Wei Chen is involved with... He's, like, secondhand involved in it, but he's yet to, like, do any magic or see any magic. So, I don't know, man. Next episode. Okay, so Stephanie Shu showed up, so that's fun. Kind of further confirming my theory that this is Everything Everywhere All at Once wannabe show, but, that's just the cynic in me. Shut up. What I really have to say about this episode, I guess, is that the two plots are finally like really colliding, and shit is getting real. And also, the girl that Jin's crushing on, of course, is like trying to talk, because there's always a girl in these coming of age things that is always interested in the main character and like talks to him on purpose. And that's never been my experience, but whatever, I'm not jealous. But yeah, see what happens. Okay, so finally, the Ki Hui Kwan is no longer just a background character. He actually never meets Jin, the main character. He's still kind of relegated as an other, but he kind of gives this motivational speech on TV that Jin hears, so like cool, I guess. But like, I wish he would have actually been involved in the magic and the Chinese mythology stuff. Like, you saw him in Everything Everywhere, and then you had this show about ancient Chinese gods duking it out to save the universe, and you were like, let's cast him as just a dude on a sitcom. Then again, maybe that's the point, that like the Chinese character doesn't have to be the Asian stereotype, good at kung fu. But at the same time, that would have been fucking awesome. I would have loved that. But and also the family plot is actually like really hooking me. How the plot with Jin's parents ends. I want to know, like, more than I want to see the bull demon being stopped because he's gonna take over the world. I don't give a shit about that. Like, I want to see these two. I want to see this couple reconcile. It's kind of weird, but okay. I think this has all the pieces to have a decently satisfying finale, so let's go on to that. Okay, final thoughts on this show. Overall, I think it was worth my time. I think it was worth it. They kind of managed to pull the two storylines together thematically, and they definitely saved the ending for me. I had my doubts along the way, especially in that part where that flashback episode with all the weird costumes and James Hong. It was good. I'll just make sure I say that first before I complain, because I know when I hear complaints, like, that immediately makes me not want to watch it. But I have to say I liked the more of the Jin's personal growth stuff more than I really cared about the Chinese god uprising or whatever was going on, because the thing that was missing from the climax when they were, taking down the bad guy was that, like, we never got to, like, even see what would happen before it actually happened. So as it was happening, I was like, okay, what's going to happen if they don't stop this? Like, I need to know, right? I have no concept of, like, what's going to happen. We haven't really gotten to explore the realm of heaven that much, so I don't care what's going to happen to that. And, like, they don't, if they weren't going to set it up beforehand, at least they also could have, I don't know, done more to convince me that everyone was going to die if they didn't stop him. So that was a bummer. But the action is acceptable. I did end up liking the characters. I'm just kind of disappointed that Kiwi Kwan and Michelle Yeoh weren't involved as much as they were. I don't know if it's just because, like, I don't know, their rates are pretty high and they could only afford to shove them in at certain points, but they were great. But, like, Jin's whole thing about, figuring out who he is and like having the confidence to be who he is, it wasn't as cliche as I thought it was going to be, because, this is a Disney show. The plot with Jin's parents, which, I mean, like, a divorce plot line, really? Where have I seen this before? But no, it was good. I liked, not only did the actors do a good job of selling, like, the very real, like, tension that can happen between married, not that I haven't experienced that, but, like, they made their conflict believable while, me still wanting them to, not wanting them to divorce, And then Jin tried to step in to help them, and he felt like it was his fault, but then it comes back and relates to the Monkey King Bull Demon shit, and it was actually way more satisfying than I thought it would be. Was I disappointed? Well, it's funny because I thought I would go into this series for some epic action with some Chinese mythology, and as, like, a backdrop, there would be some, family drama and coming of age stuff. But it turns out I actually like that stuff more than the action. The action was, honestly, I don't want to say a letdown, because, like, the fight scenes are still impressive. Like, I give so much respect to people who coordinate stuff like that. And then, of course, the stunt people that actually do those things. It's hard to make a not cool fight scene. But they definitely didn't flesh out the fantasy world as much as they did for like, how big the stakes were. But I don't think this is going to be the last season. I think there's going to be more of this show. So, I don't know. I'm going to be keeping my eye out for season 2 of American Born Chinese. Also, can we talk about the name of the title of this series, which, like, I don't get at all. I mean, I guess I do get it because, he's the main character is an American-born Chinese, but then, like, that would be like calling Harry Potter, instead of Harry Potter, it would be called British Kid and the Sorceress. You know what I'm saying? Like, why does this series named after just the main character's ethnicity? You don't think there could have been, like, a more creative, roll off the tonguey title than American Born Chinese? I have my gripes, but at the end of the day, I watched the whole series. I didn't get bored of it, and that's really all I can. That's really what I ask for at the end of the day, So what are we feeling? 7 out of 10? Yeah, 7 out of 10. So I think that'll do it for this episode of Who Reviews. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, you won't be seeing me for a little bit, And then I'm going to have some fun in Spain, León, España. And I'm going to bring back a vlog for you guys. Don't worry, okay? Of course, I'm turning everything in my life is content. It consumes me. I can't go a day without thinking about this godforsaken YouTube channel. Kidding. Anyway, if you like and subscribe, do everything else that makes the algorithm show this to more people. And if you don't, of course, I will banish you to heaven. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Bow, 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 to no Snape Town. No, Snape, Ciao, Brooklyn.